When I was growing up, I always loved to get presents from Santa. And the reason why I loved to get presents from Santa is because they were always toys. They weren't clothes. Ugh. And I never had to write thank you cards to Santa. So, it was just something free. All right, I get this toy and that's it. And opposed to, let's say I had to exchange gifts with my brother and sister, so there was money involved, okay, thank you, brother, thank you, sister. Or then the worst was when my grandparents or uncles gave me clothes, and I was like, that's no fun. And worse still was I had to write thank you cards for them. And so it was like, okay, I had to go out and to have a responsibility to thank them. And as I got older, I realized that responsibility for the gifts I received grew as well. I've known people who have assume I got a car for Christmas, although I never did. But then, you have to buy gas, you have to buy oil changes, you have to buy tires, you have to take care of the car, you have to buy insurance and everything else. Later on, I thought of the gift of friendship, how I have to take care of those gifts of friendship and be a friend to the others so that they can be a friend to me. All this gets to saying that whatever gift we have been given, there's a corresponding responsibility. Even as I was going and my knee was not doing well, I never once asked for a miracle. Not because I didn't think God would do it, although, a miracle is called a miracle for a reason. But I thought, what would happen if I actually did get that miracle? What would happen if all of a sudden, how I was limping, all of a sudden one day I'm just great and everything's grand because I prayed to God? Would I be willing to say, I prayed to God and my knee was healed? And would you accept that? I mean, think of it. Think if you asked me that and I said, well, I prayed to God and he healed my knee, and there it is. It takes a lot of faith to stand up and say that. It would take a lot of responsibility, and yet what would I do? I mean, here it is. If I prayed and I got that miracle, would I shut up and try and avoid it and not say anything? The responsibility would then be that, Jesus Christ did something to me, and I had to share it. I had to respond to his love. And it also taught me that Jesus Christ is still living and active in my life. And so when King Ahaz, in the first reading, is being asked to, ask for a sign, any sign at all, be it high as the sky or deep as the netherworld. He is being asked for a sign because there's two great armies that are approaching Jerusalem. And he's going to say, okay, what am I going to do to defend Jerusalem from these armies? And the prophet Isaiah is saying, don't worry about it. They won't even reach the gates. There won't even be an arrow flung at the walls of Jerusalem. And so, because I know that seems kind of strange and odd, ask for a sign. And King Ahaz says, no, I won't tempt the Lord. Because if he did tempt the Lord, if he did say, okay, I want this sign, whatever sign he asked for, then he has to have a responsibility. He has to have a responsibility to say, okay, God is watching over me. God's protecting me. Isaiah is his prophet. I ought to listen to him. But the most difficult part of all is to do nothing while these two armies approach. Look at that faith that he would have to say, okay, I believe. I'm going to do nothing to prepare for these two armies to come marching down my aisle. And so that's why he doesn't. He doesn't want to change. He doesn't want to respond to that gift that potentially could be given to him. And yet he's given a sign anyway, which he ignores. And just like I said, God takes care of them. The armies never reach Jerusalem. All is well, but he still didn't learn. We look at the contrast of Joseph. Joseph is a righteous man. And although it doesn't explicitly say it, I could guarantee you, along with every other Jew in that time, he He was praying for the Messiah to come. And yet, here it is. The angel appears to him and says his betrothed Mary is the one who's going to bear the Christ child. And I could see him just say, who, me? And yet that is. And he has the faith to respond to that gift by taking Mary into his home, to being the foster father of Jesus, to being the protector of the Holy Family. For all of us, it is a question that, what do we ask of God? And are we willing to respond to that gift in faith, whatever it is? I mean, every time we ask, Jesus is asking us to reach out to him in faith, whether it's for the Christ child, whether it's for health, whether it's for a cure of an illness, whether it is for something inconsequential, whatever it might be. Are we willing to pray for that? Are we willing to ask? Because we know in the end, if he responds, we have to respond too. We have to accept his goodness and share that goodness with those we meet. As we are only a week away from the greatest gift that we've been given on Christmas of the Christ child, it is a time for us to call to mind that Jesus Christ still wants us to ask this day, so that we have something to proclaim to our brothers and sisters.